So you guys trying to get that preemptive pardon or what?
Yeah, I'd take one.
Yeah, I'd like to.
Who knows
I'd like to
what
cop
we're gonna
some
do?
preemptive pardons. The best strain out there.
Dude, I'd like to do some light treason in my lifetime and like some shoplifting at Anthropology.
Nice.
Just one or the other.
Well, you'd be able to do both.
Yeah, ideally at the same time, if I could find some way to hawk my own line of, lip balm at Anthropology. I don't know. I just want to follow in the footsteps of Ivanka.
Or like
what I'm trying to say.
$5 smelly candle.
Yeah, exactly.
Those sweaters are so nice, but they're all $100. I want to shoplift from Anthropology too. You want to do it together?
Please.
I am getting the sense that they're coming out with this whole notion of 20 preemptive pardons as a way of essentially foaming the runway, as it were, for like 10 preemptive pardons. Right? Like it's only 10.
But there's no way the legality of a preemptive pardon stands. I mean, it's fun to discuss. It's fun that Trump is, this ridiculous and wants to shield his kids and, sweaty Giuliani from legal issues going forward. But there's no way they're actually going to stand if Ivanka, say, gets indicted on, some corruption charges.
I honestly think he should pardon as many people as possible because once again, when Biden assumes the presidency and there is absolutely no accountability for the most crooked president in American history and we just move on from it and normalize everything, Democrats won't look so bad. I feel like it behooves them to let them pardon so that we don't have to pretend like we're going to try to in the future.
Yeah, I mean, I actually think that I wouldn't be surprised if there was some sense in the Biden administration that would be a good way for us to wash our hands of it. I mean, that's sort of what Brandon was talking about on some level. It's like, I can't do anything because of the manager in the back. Nothing I can do about it.
You got these girls shoplifting from Anthropology. I don't know. I don't see anything. I've seen them on the Majority Report.
Francesca, do you want to look at some? Have you been following any of this stuff that's going on? I don't know if you're aware of this, but the Republicans are trying to argue, or at least some, that there was massive voter fraud.
I've heard about this. Yeah, I have.
Been going on, and this is a video that dropped about Georgia, and this is apparently now Kemp. So you got Trump going to Georgia tomorrow. And they're terrified that he's going to come in and say, don't vote.
Yeah.
It's all rigged.
Sidney Powell's already saying it.
She's already saying it.
My favorite lady of the 2020 year. Just an absolute iconic queen.
Icon. Yes, absolutely.
The $750 I gave them for this effort. I'm feeling pretty good about it. Yeah. I feel like that money's working for me. But they got Kemp has come out and said, we're going to audit the signatures on these ballots of a race that's already been called. You've got Raffensperger going after some of the voter registration thing. And it's ostensibly about this video. Play this video. It's clip number 5. This is a video that the Trump team has offered. This is from OWN, which I know is your favorite network, Francesca.
I stopped watching.
Get owned.
Just moved to OAN.
There we go.
I think it's just OAN now.
Yeah. At about 8 o'clock in the morning, we're going to roll this back and show it to you. There you go. So now they're going to start pulling these ballots out from under this table.
Pause it for 1 second. The idea that these are ballots that were pulled out from underneath the table, right? Because everybody knows you're supposed to keep ballots on top of the table, not store them under the table.
Because what could that mean?
My object permanence does not allow me to understand there are ballots that exist if they're not in view right now.
All the time. That's right. And also because everybody knows that most ballot counting offices have those trap doors like they do for
right.
What they do. And the ballots come up. But the argument is that these ballots were there when there was no officials observing the count. So listen what happens here.
Table, the black one, was placed there by the lady with the blonde braids at about 8:22 a.m. in the morning. So she put that table there. So the same person who's staying behind now, the same person who cleared the place out under the pretense that we're going to stop counting, is the person who put the table there at 8:22 in the morning. Yeah, I saw 4 suitcases come out from underneath the table. Yeah, upper right hand, you see the gentleman in the red. So he just pulled one out.
Wow.
Oh, look at that.
So what are these ballots doing there, separate from all the other ballots? And why are they only counting them whenever the place is cleared out with no witnesses? Is the question. So these machines can process about 3,000 ballots an hour. You have multiple machines there, and they're there for 2 hours. So you do the math. How many ballots went through those machines in those 2 hours when there was no one there to supervise, to be present, consistent with your statutes and rules, to supervise the tabulation? We believe that could easily be, and probably is certainly, beyond the margin of victory in this race.
Yeah. Now, wait. Where is the other clip, Brendan? The public broadcasting guy.
He's referring to the guy in the video.
Wait, do we have that clip?
There's a guy in a blue jacket in this clip.
Okay, so this guy. Okay, so here is a tweet following up that video from Stephen Fowler from Georgia Public Radio. See the guy in the blue jacket in some of the camera screens in this video? That's an official monitor from the Secretary of State's office who was there watching the voting counting.
Oh my God.
Like, this is just bat crap crazy.
I know, but when you listen to them in a vacuum and you already have the preconceived idea that the election was stolen, you're like, well, that does seem suspicious or a little stitious, right? Like, that's what people who are predisposed to conspiracy theories think. They hold on to the little kernel and then they expand upon it. So it's unfortunately effective for a good 15% of the population. I'm cutting the Trump supporters.
I was going to say 15%.
I was being maybe a tad generous, but like, that's enough in Georgia. Look, I'm still skeptical that this undercutting of the value of the vote and the integrity of the elections is going to translate into a positive result for Democrats in Georgia. Who knows? Because Republicans usually just show up anyway. But there's a chance. There's a significant chance, especially as this misinformation continues to spread.
Yeah. No, I agree. They've been caught in their own like grift queue continuum. Like they've found this point where they're like, voting doesn't matter and it's all a fraud, but also get out the vote. No. And they've collided and now they're just lost in their own conspiracy. And they're trying to crawl and get out of it by getting the most petty, petulant, self-absorbed person in the country to get out the vote for 2 senators he couldn't care less about.
Doesn't care.
What do you want to what do you think is going to happen tomorrow? I honestly, this is the first time that I've been genuinely interested in what this guy's going to say for years. Like, I'm just like wondering, like, he's coming in there and you'd think like presumably he's coming right to support them, but it's also, I can also think like,
but that's what Kemp was doing. That's when Kemp said, we're going to, rescan these signatures and re-audit them. That's just like a little cookie to throw at Donald Trump. So that he doesn't like disregard the Georgia races in his rally tomorrow.
Francesca, what would you say? Where are you going to go with this?
I'm going to go with lots of droplets. That's what we know will happen. It's a rally. There's going to be a lot of COVID. Tons of COVID, all the COVID. So that's one at this time when we're like having, increasing cases, crazy numbers of death. But I don't think he's going to refocus it on Loeffler and Perdue at all, because he's got literally nothing to lose at this point. And except for the presidency itself, he doesn't care about the Republican Party. And Loeffler and Perdue, to be real with you, look, I know Giuliani and Sidney Powell and Jenna Ellis, when they're standing behind the podium, they kind of look like the Addams family, like of MAGA lawyers, attorneys, and it's great. But That's MAGA. Like MAGA is just miscreant, like randos strung together. MAGA's not necessarily the Republican Party, especially not Loeffler and Perdue, who are super swampy, right? MAGA's like beyond swamp.
It's called so emotional. I mean, that's what I feel like people don't get. It's about this big like group hanging all together, feeling fired up, getting COVID, spitting in others' mouths. Like,
but how is that not the Republican Party? I mean, the Republican Party is
we don't know. We
still
won't know
sort of like 90% white.
Yeah,
it is. They are at least, you know, I don't know, a third at least identify as however you want to call it, religious fundamentalists or Christian nationalists or however you want to call that. I mean, this is like a pretty cohesive group of people. And if you go to a Tea Party rally 10 years ago and look at the people holding the monkey, you know, that is supposedly Barack Obama, I think there's going to be the Venn diagram is going to fit pretty nicely.
Sure. No, I'm just saying that like it's OAN greater than Fox News at this point, right? There was conspiracy, you know, that the ballots, the machines were created in Venezuela by Hugo Chavez 10 years ago, greater than, hey, maybe we lost and we got to like redouble our efforts for the future, you know, Republican Party. Like they've been grooming their base for this crazy moment. And now, like I'm saying, they're lost in it. So I will be very surprised if Trump makes a hard sell for Perdue and Loeffler. I think he's going to focus on Raffensperger only. He's going to focus on Kemp. He's going to focus on so-called fraud. He's going to talk about the guy in the blue shirt and the woman with the blonde braids. And that's it. And how he's been wronged. How
does he pivot? He talks for a half an hour about how the election's been stolen. He goes, but still important to vote for the lady and that other guy.
Yeah, well, I mean, he did this stuff in Arizona too when he had rallies, and infamously he said, like, no one wants to hear from you. Come on, Martha McSally. Like,
yeah, no. You got 1 minute. You got one minute. Come up here.
But yes, that would have been enough. I mean, I know it not for her, but in the past that would have been enough to just drum up enthusiasm in the general state and in the area for that candidate, just because Trump was there with them for 30 seconds, right? That would have been enough for the base. But now there's that schism that we're talking about. Like, does the Trump base go with the Republican voters when Trump is not on the ballot and won't be the president?
Listen, this is an example of, and you know, the funny thing is that, like, there's no ideological difference, and there's really no anything but except for performative difference between, let's say, Dan Crenshaw and Malkin. But here, play the.
Oh God, Malkin. Oh God.
Put up the Michelle Malkin. Put up the. Where is this?
Oh, I missed her.
Is it? Oh, it's an image. Okay, here it is. So here is Crenshaw. Pop this Twitter up. This Twitter exchange. So here's Crenshaw talking about the lawyer Lynn Wood. This lawyer is representing. At one point, like years ago, he represented Richard Jewell, who was accused of being the Olympic bomber. And most recently, he's representing the shooter from Wisconsin who killed 3 people at protests, Rittenhouse. He has apparently, you know, contributed to different people over the years, including Ronald Reagan, including Barack Obama. But he is the guy up there. He's been, you know, riding shotgun with Sidney Powell. So here's Dan Crenshaw. Lynn Wood is a Democrat that wants Republicans to self-destruct. Just because he wears a MAGA hat does not mean he shares a single value with you. He just wants your donations for his legal fees. He's a grifter. Now, that to me sounds like about as Republican as you can get, right? I mean, that's what Donald Trump has raised $200 million off this. The whole thing is grifty. But look at Malkin. Right? Do we have Malkin's response? Dan Crenshaw is a globalist, John McCain in an eye patch, who loves to party hard while our country burns. Protect our election system and our country, not the GOP swamp. I love it.
Who loves to party hardy?
Yeah. Is she trying to say that, you know, he likes to shotgun beers or something? I don't really.
Yeah. Is that an eye patch reference? It's like hardy hardy. It's like, what's the what are we talking about here?
Is there going to be conservative outrage towards her like there was for Hassan Piker for just daring to point out the fact that he has one eye? I don't know.
What we can all see and he can't. Anyway, no, I first of all, Lynn Wood, Sidney Powell. I mean, I'm just so glad that we haven't seen these characters earlier and that we're saving them for lame duck final lap Trump because they're the best. Lynn Wood looks like he was hired to be a Trump impersonator at your 40th birthday. Like straight up, the guy is brilliant, but he's also repping not just Rittenhouse, but the McCloskeys, right? He's representing people who the Republican Party have had at the RNC, who they've lifted up, and suddenly now he can't be trusted. I think he's part of your band here.
That's a good point. It would be really tough to who would you bring out in the final act to be more Sidney Powell than Sidney Powell?
I don't know. I mean, she just stands there like looking like the Yeti. I love her. I love Sidney Powell. There's been few Trump adjacent folk that have given me more joy than that woman.
From a narrative perspective, you could argue that that Rudy should have saved the drippy hairspray for like a week from now.
Yeah.
Right?
Maybe he'll just melt on Inauguration Day into the floor finally. And that will be the grand finale of this.
Just come out and have forgotten his pants.
Right.
Like that, and just be like, what? Say something.
Yeah, because the fart after the hair dye, it kind of didn't hit as much.
You guys play that yesterday?
Yeah, we did.
You did?
I only saw it this morning. Was that real? He actually did fart?
It appears that he actually did fart.
Judging by Jenna Ellis's reaction,
she did.
I don't know. I've seen people like drop that in on audio, like back in the day, the old fart tapes.
Yeah, you can reverse engineer that by seeing a reaction, but I haven't seen anybody debunk it yet. So yeah,
it's deep fake, deep fart. I think we're going to see a lot more of it as technology moves on. So